Good morning. Still again, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for you. You know, the same things that we were talking about yesterday, we're talking about them today. It's a little bit stronger today than yesterday because it has another day that it has existed. And by doing so, it has been more empowered. But today I would like to speak on the subject matter, a black man to expose Trump and evils of America. You know, one of the things that people have been saying about the sickness that and diseases that people feel all over America is because in the efforts for folks to make money, and making money is key on earth today. Because with money, supposedly you can do anything. You can even ride above the law. But without money, you are messed up. And so people in their efforts to make money being attached to corporations and uh, industries that are working with a variety of the community or the population and can have an opportunity to make money. And if you can invest in it, chances you can get some of that kickback. And so people doing that have made it possible and really has made it an initiative, it seems, that people will try to do whatever they could in every area. And one is especially food. They're saying in their efforts to make sure that food lasts longer, to preserve it, to make sure that it has other benefits that they sell to the people. They treat it a certain kind of way. And in many instances, they say they're poisoning the food or putting chemicals on the food that will cause poisoning to the people. And many people might be dying from situations that have come from the food. And there's no doubt that has been proven as a fact that what chemicals the body receives sometimes, not to everyone, but to many, can cause a devastation, a death. And that in itself should be enough motivation to the people to consider if it's possible to be able to access food without taking a threat, you know, like taking medicine for a condition that promises you that you could be threatened in several other ways. That doesn't make any sense to me. To me, that's the backwardness of people being disconnected to truth. And they're just trying some things, and some things work on some things and cause problems on other things. And so, to me, it's motivation to try to find out what is the right track, the track that works and doesn't cause any other problems. To me, that's very important. Now, just talking about that food thing, and if I wanted to move away from the food, I would think about one of the main topics today is Epstein. Now, you know, Epstein is not alive today. Supposedly, a few years ago, he committed suicide. Now, once you get information about what actually went down when it comes down to Epstein and the past several years, whatever is being reported, it is nothing but a statement to say that Epstein was murdered. He was murdered. See, Epstein represented something else that many folks might not know. Epstein represented a situation where the top notch people in any country, specifically America and whoever's connected with, but I would say any country, its most powerful people had a pathway to engage in some of the most heinous things and to keep it secret. And this is what it was used for. And when he finally got caught in a situation where it seems as if he probably would not escape, somebody decided that they could not take a chance on him being able to go out and publicly speak to the world and tell the world about all the crooked folks, people that Americans and others of the world have put their faith in, have put their trust in, put them above any reproach. These are outstanding folks. They represent big power for this, and find out they're just as crooked and evil as anybody else. And they could not allow that to be revealed. So they took him out. Now, that's no reason for Epstein to say, well, I better kill myself so I won't tell the world what's going on. No, any fool knows that man was murdered. Any fool knows that man was murdered. Anyway, it'll probably come out with the wash later on. Now, thinking about stuff like that, there's a city, a town, or in a state or someplace where the people are considering nothing but white people, segregate themselves like some of these religious groups that refuse to utilize any of the technological advances because it's evil to them. I don't know why God gave it to them. And you know God gave it to them. God gave them an earth. So if God give you earth, why can't God give you a telephone? If God gave you earth, why can't God give you a car? I don't know. But anyway, they came up with some kind of reason. And so these are a group of people who've come up with the idea we just want a perfect union of white people. And I'm sure if there's some work involved in living, even these white people who want a perfect white society want them some immigrants or some slaves to come in and do the work because they don't want to work. They just want the benefit of the work. So think about that, ladies and gentlemen. That's the world we live in, segregated like that, and everybody is just used to benefit the ones that call themselves superior. So, in other words, white people, especially with Trump and what they're talking about, they really want slavery back. Those what they call the good old days when white men had all kind of power. And when I say white men, I'm referring to the West now, speaking about here. So uh, for those of us who are here, we can actually understand what's going on. So this was a wonderful thing for them one time, and they want it back. But I'm asking you, ladies and gentlemen, what could be so wonderful about splitting up a family? We probably might not understand, or some of us might not understood what splitting up a family meant. But just a few years ago, that's what they were doing to immigrants. Trump and his group was getting immigrant people of color off of this continent, excuse me, out of America. And while they were holding them, they were ripping the kids away. I understand the kids have been placed someplace, maybe will never be connected with their parents again. But this is what they were doing. And I'm sure we living here today would understand exactly what that meant. And even if you didn't, if you, we got loved ones today that you wouldn't want that to happen to them. And what if it was happening? But it did happen to you. It did happen to your descendants. It did happen to your ancestors. And it will happen to your descendants. I got to get it right. And it will happen to them if we continue it as we have in the past. So, if this is what they want, they are saying that white power is still, out of all of these years when people in America thought they were doing something to advance equality, they really haven't done anything. And that even the president, the words are coming out now that the current fake president of the United States got slaves in Dubai. Now, this is just being reported. I have no way to verify it, but I can say one thing. I know it's no big problem. It would be easy for all it needs is a reason to make some money, and slavery would be. But I say to American people, if Trump is illegal, if Trump is going across this country representing falsehoods, if this is what he is all about, the world don't just see Trump. The world sees America. When you look at Russia, you don't just see Putin. You see the oligarchs. We see the people with all that money and stuff, and you see the other people who sit back and take that stuff. When you see those people in North Korea or wherever they are, Germany doing those marches, but they call them duck steps or something like that. I don't know what they really are. But you look at them, you just think about, wow, how they're controlled, how they're manipulated. And you just couldn't imagine yourselves being caught up in a situation like that. When in reality, ladies and gentlemen, you are caught up in a situation just like that. It happens that this is one of the ways that they express themselves in this bull. And everybody got their own ways of expressing themselves. So just because you don't choose the same way of expressing, you're still expressing about the same things, which make you not unique, but a collective. So if Trump still has slavery in Dubai, and if Trump is getting away with all the cruel stuff and he is illegal and the world doesn't just see Trump, what they see is all of America, then you must be thinking about this government. Well, see, this government is a reflection of who we, the people, are in America. The government systems of the world, they represent who the people are of the world. Now, these people didn't come here like this. They kind of came here with a little slate, bulletin board, something like that. But they came with something built in them from the Creator. Something that has to do with conscience and other stuff that I might not be explained from there, but you know what I'm talking about. And being here, but they're mostly exposed because people still not recognizing the truth and being led by people like Trump and Putin. Those are the kind of people. I mean, even from the beginning of time, they were the ones, and they call themselves the alpha. They're the bulldog. You know what that basically means? Watch a dog. What go for a bunch of dogs? I use dogs because it amazes me sometimes how that thing works. And that's a dog can walk in on that where the dogs are and want to flex their muscles or something. And that alpha dog would jump on them right just in the minute. And you look at it, you say, wow, it doesn't take long to straighten that other dog out. So it seems when you see that, you see people, human beings, there are those that's just like that dog. Will come in, doesn't matter. You know, it would be wonderful if they stood up and fought for righteousness. But that's not the thing. They are standing up fighting for power. One way or the other, there's the power for someone else. And they'll come on you just like God. That's what they call it, talking about alpha. But my friends, I'm saying, in any system, there must be government. So if you got a government that's reflecting who the people are, and you are embarrassed at what you see, and you, for one reason or another, decide to make a change, and if you decide to make the righteous change, and the righteous change is the change that works for everyone, and you're going to see the results of that. It will be reflecting who you are. So I say that Americans and blacks, they must defend justice because justice is pure. And you must do it against anyone that would bring about injustice. That means in America, all of that evil stuff that's going on, homelessness, poverty, crime, all of that stuff is a sign that we are on the wrong path. But people who don't know that can't correct that. So I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, look at in America what's been happening all of America's existence. All of America's existence. White people might have thought it was great at one time, but there are another group of people who have never seen it as great. Not then, nor now. It's just been hell. And if it's going to be fixed, it's going to be fixed by people who are tired of living in hell. because there are those who benefited from the beginning, from the killing and the enslavement and stuff like that, and they haven't had to feel the pain. No, that doesn't mean that some of them didn't. But the fact of it is, it was designed to put them above and keep the others below. And it hasn't changed. Look at America today. Look at everything that's happening. It has not changed for the betterment of the people, not one iota. So those people who were victims of all the hell that America's always been, there is no way you can sit back and watch this stuff happen right before your face. Back in the day, they didn't have the means of communication and that accessibility. Today you do. I mean, everything that's happening is happening at the same moment. You seeing it, you understand it. But what are we? That's key. The most important thing is what the victims, what are they doing about it? What are they going to do about it? Forget the going. What are they doing about it right now? Right now. You and hey, white people, you know it's you. I mean, what I'm saying is not anything that's trickery. You know it's been you. That's why you got the Proud Boys. You got people walking around with them. These are our streets. They're saying we took these streets. We fought. We killed for these streets. These are our streets. And if you want them, you're going to have to fight and kill for them and take them. That's what they are saying. But what is the truth to say, you do whatever you got to do to stand up for truth. But you just make sure that you're standing up for truth. And if you're standing up for truth, you're not standing alone. You're giving representation, reflecting where the truth comes. So I say, when we talk about Trump, people used to talk about how, especially white people, they wanted to stay on top. So they all jumped on the thing with Trump because he was doing the stuff that they all represented. And they had God coming down, angels coming down from all over the world to bless this evilness, to give this evilness support. And I guess it lost for a minute. It didn't stay gone. It's back full force. It took that time, it seems, to practice, to study. And now it's back full force. But what you're actually seeing is that by Trump being here and doing what he did to expose what's really true, not that he was trying to expose it to get rid of it. No, he's trying to let the people know that this is what you really are. In fact, they, Mega Trump, they think that everyone on earth is a liar and a cheater, just like they are. They do not believe that anybody on earth in a system called capitalism, where you can do nothing without money, that there's somewhere down the line, sometime you engaged in something that was crooked just to get some money. They convinced of that. And that's why they want power, because they can do anything they want to do, and you can't do nothing about it, because all they got to do is look at you and they're going to find something. See? But that's not the way of truth. The way of truth doesn't do it that way. The way of truth is not trying to expose you and to abuse you and to use you. The way of truth knows you're crooked. The way of truth knows that you were deceived, and that's why you are crooked. That way of truth knows that in order for you to get straightened up, it's going to take truth to be represented amongst you. That means stand up and resist the bull. Whatever the consequences might be, stand up and resist bull, because the consequences are absolutely necessary to engage to the degree that it would mean something to blind people. But always understand that whatever price you pay reflects the reward you receive, not just you alone, but the human population. So what I'm trying to tell you is this: is God is calling on righteous people to pull off that lie they told you about being righteous and do what you would want someone to do for you if you were in a situation that required some kind of action. Whatever kind of action that would be that is required to take you out of a situation, that's the way we got to look at the world. We are all calling for one another to look after one another in these types of situations. So yes, What I'm saying to you is this: Trump represents evil to America, and Trump represents evil to the world. Eddie Marcus, and that's me, Eddie Marcus. I represent to the greatest degree that I understand God. I'm talking to you about the God that I understand, a God that made the world, the God who put you here, the God who protected you to make sure that you had resources available, the God who put you here to make sure that you have parents, the God who put you here to make sure that you can think, the God who put you here to make sure that you can do and engage yourself and have you engage in your life, in your living, so that you will never run out of food, clothing, shelter, education, healthcare, transportation, or anything that's made by the hands of men, because men engaged themselves in the process and caused all of that to exist in the reservoir of abundance, where no one would have to ever suffer like thereof, because that's God and that ain't man. And if God can do all of that for you, why in the goddamn hell would you follow people like Trump? Tell me why would you follow somebody like Trump? Look at Russia, how they're just murdering babies, old folk, nursing home, hospital. Look at Israel, want to pretend like they are chosen people of God. And look what they're doing. Look at them. Look at them. The devil couldn't have done no worse. And for to me to say that mean I'm a, what they call them? Some old kind of word they don't like when you say about the Jews. I knew what it was a few minutes ago. But anyway, whatever they say it is, if what I just got through saying means that's me, you damn right. Anybody that's out there killing babies, anybody that's out there killing old folks, anybody that's out there blowing hospitals, don't come to them mean nothing about God. You's a stinking lie. The God that you represent is Satan. Yes. And I come here to represent the God that says once you wake your tail up, you can live the life as well as anybody else. Not better, not worse. Well, anyway, I've probably been going so long, I better stop. I want to thank you so very much for giving me this much of your time. Some of you stuck with it. Maybe you're traveling on the road, but whatever it was, I want to thank you. Until next time, let us do something to make a reflection that we can be proud of. Goodbye.